Hello, my dear amazing students. I, Akanksha Gandhi, is a part of ITRC Technologies Private Limited, are going to give you a technical presentation on feedback. So let's begin our first slide with what is feedback. Feedback is the response from the receiver that the information the sender, how the communication is being received in journal. In other words, feedback is basically the result that whether the message is understood by the receiver or not. Next is the type of feedback. So there are four type of feedback. One, negative feedback, which means correcting the comment about past behavior. Second is positive feedback, means providing positive feedback or the feedback you have provided in the past. Negative feed forward. So feed forward basically means that focusing on the future instead of the past. So, means the negative comments you've provided in the past, so focusing on correcting them in future. So, positive feed forward means the positive response you are providing, so focusing on providing the positive feed forward for the future as well. Next is how to give feedback. So, the most important thing that feedback should always be clear on your reason for giving feedback. The reason of giving feedback should be cleared, should be to the point. That feedback should never be used to benefit you, but rather always to serve the person to whom you are giving the feedback. So, feedback should not be confined to yourself. It should not only for the benefit of yourself, but for the benefit of others as well. Next is know your own bias. Good advices helps to provide good response and which helps the person to gain self confidence. So you should know that which thing is good for you, which thing is bad for you. And for example, I buy two things from a site XYZ, and one is very good and other is average. So I provide advices that we should buy this, we should not buy that because that is average. So I know that what response and what thing is good for us, and I know that which thing is better. Next is ask the person to whom you are giving feedback to rate their performance themselves. So you should rate their performances, which helps them to improve and also helps them to reach to higher notch in future. So for this, we use sandwich method. So let's talk about what is sandwich method. Sandwich method means saying something positive first, then something that needs to be improved, and then saying something else positive again. So why we have used positive in the first and positive in the last and in between improved? I'll tell you the reason why. Because sometimes, if we say directly to the person that you lack in something, you have a deficiency, sometimes they get aggressive too. So, to maintain that calmness, we say something positive first, then tell something that needs for them to be improved, and then positive again, so that it would create a light environment and helps other also to think about their deficiency. So people most oftenly try to work on the deficiency with the help of sandwich method, and it always encourages them to know that which things to be improved for their better performance. And if they have more than one serious deficiency, then you should prioritize these deficiencies and then accordingly try to remove that the most important deficiency that could destroy your future and your present as well. Next is make your feedback concrete. Concrete means specific, to the point, actionable, which leads to some action, and the words you have provided should be measurable. Okay? And it should also include clear expectation for the employees in their performances. Next is make your feedback clear. The feedback should be clear. It should not like the main point you have not cleared up and the rest you are telling something that is irrelevant. So the feedback should be clear, should be to the point, which helps the other person to get to the exact point what you are trying to tell. If you keep on writing a large paragraphs, nobody's gonna read. But if you write a small short line which conveys the whole liking of the thing you have got, or any of a specific product you have got, will help them to easily grasp that thing. Next is allow enough time for response to feedback. If you have provided any response to the feedback, everybody has a perspective. So give them some time to improve their deficiency, to improve that what they could do to get rid of the deficiencies. So everybody deserves a chance to improve their deficiencies, and it will take time to improve it. So you should give time to them. Next is receiving feedback. So do not react to initial staging of negative feedback. Like if you get a negative feedback, you want to revert back the feedback because you got a negative feedback. No. Initial response upon hearing negative feedback, you should remain silent and calm. Consider the feedback you have given as if you would have discovered it yourself. So this is hard to do but helps prevent your ego from drowning out of good advices. You may decide after careful deliberations that the feedback you received was inaccurate or no good. Just make sure you have done your best to silence the yelling of your ego long enough to seriously consider what you have heard. Which means that if you get a negative response, don't react to it, be calm and go through the negative response, that whether the negative response is worth, and keep that particular response like if it is your own response, to get to know that whether that response is worth or not. Next is be open to feedback. So don't take negative feedback personally. That is not at all personal feedback. Sometimes personal feedback also helps you to improve yourself and to believe that the things can be improved in future as well. So I hope you like the technical presentation on feedback, that how feedback should be done and what things should be kept in mind while giving the feedback, while giving the performances. You should always keep yourself on their put yourself on their shoes, try to think from their perspective, and then try to respond to them, that is to response to them, provide response to them. So thank you and have a nice day.